Part of the fun of owning a racehorse is naming it. Meet Suzanne Philcox. She has the job of naming all the horses raced by the Ingham brothers and trained by John Hawkes. Judging by the numbers Suzanne has to christen, it's no mean feat.
Every year about 250, last year 272, this year I'm working on 286 at the moment.
Of course, there are rules to it.
George Capel, who's the registrar of racehorses, is very strict about anything that's offensive, racist, sexist, or just generally politically sensitive at the time.
Such as?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Yes. You couldn't probably name a horse Monica or Cigar at the moment, no.
It takes Suzanne 5 months to come up with the names, and each name has some quirky connection to the horse's parents.
We have a mare called Miss Muncher. She's had 2 foals by marauding. One's called Bitten, one's called Crocodile.
I think I'll go on a walk about and find out what it's all about.
However, one of the most interesting names that has come from the Hawkes Brigade is...
White Kicker Moo Cow, just the leader over Carry the Star. White Kicker Moo Cow, hands and heels.
I said to Mr. Jack, you know, what about this name? And I wrote it out for him, and he said, oh, how do you say it? And I told him White Kicker Moo Cow. And he said, well, you know, if the horse is going to be running last, at least we can have something to laugh about. And the horse was taking place in his first race.
On a walkabout.
On a racing theme, and that's what we're going to stay with at the moment. If you'd called Max Presnell and Keith Hillier into the office last Monday and said, boys, can we just see if we can spice up Caulfield Cup? We want a bit of drama, a bit of controversy. I wonder if they would have gone remotely close to coming up with what has just transpired. Gentlemen, could you have foreseen that as we welcome you in our Melbourne studios?
Oh, good morning, Sandy. Look, you couldn't have written that in fiction because people would have just said he's gone totally over the top. That's too far from the truth. The Cup had drama in its lead-up and high drama on the day, Max.
Look, Sandy, Steven Spielberg couldn't have come up with a script like that, so we had no chance at all. But it would have been certainly one of the most, well, the most controversial Caulfield Cup that I can recall, and perhaps even the most controversial race. When you look at the lead-up, when you look at the day, when you look at the result, when you look at events subsequent to the result, Max, we'll never see another one like that.
Well, going back, Max, should Torfin's Melody have run?
No, certainly not. Torfin's Melody was not qualified and should not have run. The VATC were at fault there. The horse didn't fulfil the conditions. I know there were extenuating circumstances. The conditions have got to be changed. I do feel that when they were trapped, the VATC should have made an announcement a couple of weeks ago, informed the racing public what was happened. The horse had to run. They've got the discretion. They should have done it, but should have done it a fortnight ago, not left it till the last moment when they hoped that something might come, some divine guidance or something might come and get them out of a tricky situation.
And just to praise the events on the day, Sandy, the race was won for the first time in 121 years by an international horse, for the first time by an international jockey, by the longest price winner since 1943. A record fine was imposed on the jockey of $20,000 plus a month's suspension, and that was only part of the story.
Have you been up all night, Keith?
I haven't.
Probably not doing stats, but anyway. Fair Form, of course, was pulled out at the barrier. I just wonder, how would poor old Cole Alderson have felt?
Well, Cole Alderson was feeling pretty sick after the race because Lisa's Game ran second, and Cole Alderson's horse, of course, our Unicorn, that didn't get into the race. Well, Cole seemed to feel that he would have beaten Lisa's Game for a start, and he did declare that the 2 biggest shall we say, mishaps in his racing career have been caused by committees. One was in the Perth Cup a few years back. The other was when the committee did elevate, of course, the winner, Taffin's Melody, over his horse, our Unicorn.
Gentlemen, you can analyse the race in just a moment, but first up, let's have another look at it.
Stalls are back and they're racing in the Caulfield Cup. To a mighty roar from the crowd, and Tied the Knot in the hind began well with Jezebel, and here's Champagne showing speed, and look at On Air and Darazari, they're whizzing from the outside. On Air from the outside gate has cleared them comfortably and led by 2 to Darazari, Vitronite, Jezebel. Further back Champagne, checked there inside Torfin's Melody, and Lisa Game went around the outside. Then R.A. Smith, who's prominent, followed by Faithful Son. Further back behind, a length in to Tie the Knot, is just off midfield as R.A. Smith is caught deep out of the straight, a length further back than Pursuit. Pursuits. Outside it then came Von Ann from Yippee-Yi-Yo, then Count Shivers. Markham second last, and last of all, It's All in Fun. They go towards the 1800-metre mark in the Caulfield Cup, and Torfin's Melody, the import, has gone around the outside to take up the running, and Ray Cochran has taken Torfin's Melody out by 2. Up the back straight now from On Air, 2.5 Derazari, a length Lisa's Game, Jezebel 5th on the inside, 1 to Vitronite, a length and a half Champagne, and Aerosmith is 3 deep. On the outside of Champagne and Faithful Sun the middle, 2 to the hind, a length for the back, Yippee-Yi-Yo. Outside it, Tie the Knot, 2 for the back, then Von Ann. Then Pursuits, followed by It's All in Fun, Count Shivers and Markham last of all. At the 1300-metre mark in the Caulfield Cup, and it's Torfin's Melody on top by 2. Second is On Air, a length into Lisa's Game, a length for the back, Jezebel. 1.5 Derazari, who's just off the fence, running 5th. A length for the back, Champagne, Aerosmith 3 deep. In the middle is Vitronite, 2 for the back, Faithful Sun. He's gone up on the outside now, Tie the Knot. Yippee-Yi-Yo over on the inside, they're followed for the back by the hind. Then came in the middle there for the back, Pursuits, followed by It's All in Fun, Von Ann, Count Shivers and Markham last of all. 800 metres to go in the Foster's Caulfield Cup, and the leader is Torfin's Melody from On Air. Lisa's Game has gone up on the outside, ahead away, 3rd, a length and a half to Jezebel. On the inside of Derazari, they're followed for the back by Vitronite. Aerosmith hasn't got on the track, and the hind hooked around it. Champagne waiting for a run on the fence, a length for the back, Tie the Knot. He'll need a ton of luck from there. Pursuits outside him from Faithful Sun, and further back It's All in Fun as they scout right in the Caulfield Cup. Torfin's Melody, the leader, turning for home now from Lisa's Game on the outside, then Jezebel. Champagne back to the inside. Further out, Lisa's Game has reached the front now from Torfin's Melody. Here comes Tie the Knot, he's in the clear, coming with a run. Lisa's Game, Torfin's Melody have knocked over Jezebel. Tie the Knot with a withering run. Torfin's Melody again in front of Lisa's Game. The importer's going to take the Caulfield Cup, Torfin's Melody. And neck Lisa's Game ahead, 3rd is Tie the Knot.
Yes, and I think Ray Cochran would have thought, well, how easy is this, gentlemen? But, of course, then all the drama started to unfold yet again, Keith.
Yes, indeed, and it lasted. Stewards deliberated for 10 minutes, Sandy, before dismissing a protest, 6th against 1st. This is the incident. That's Torfin's Melody in the red hat, and in the black and the gold is the sufferer, Jezebel. Watch Jezebel. His rider, Chris Muntz, described it as the worst possible interference in a Group 1 race.
Anywhere else in the world, Keith, this horse would have lost the race. Only Australia would this horse been allowed to keep the Caulfield Cup. That was very severe interference.
The more this action was shown on the big screen at Caulfield yesterday before a modern-day record crowd of 42,000 plus, the more people wondered whether Torfin's Melody would keep the race. It was relief all around for Connections when the protest was dismissed.
Stewards have to be comfortably satisfied that the horse wouldn't have won the race, Jezebel wouldn't have won the race. Had the protest have been upheld, of course, Torfin's Melody would have been placed behind Jezebel, and Lisa's Game would have been the Caulfield Cup winner.
At home at his stall in Cranbourne was Our Unicorn, the horse that many people thought would have won the Cup but didn't get a start. And ironically, Fair Form was taken out at the barrier. That's the New Zealand mare. Opie Bossum, the champion New Zealand apprentice, by her side. Vets looking at her. She got some cuts and abrasions in that barrier mishap and was taken out. Ironically, in the end, the Caulfield Cup field was dispatched with 1 gate vacant. And Sandy, a 2.5 kilo penalty for Torfin's Melody. That's important. He will need a new rider in the Melbourne Cup. The favourite is the English jockey John Reid.
Now, can he win the Melbourne Cup?
Oh, it was a slow pace. The 4th horse might be Damien Oliver might win the Melbourne Cup.
Faithful Sun. I still think Tie the Knot ran a very good Melbourne Cup trial.
And no penalty for Tie the Knot, Max?
No, only the winner gets penalised.
Yeah, OK then. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. And continue to enjoy the Spring Carnival. Let's hope we don't have quite as much drama next week.
Speak for yourself.
Bye, Sandy.
Max Fresnell and Keith Hillier in our 7 studios in Melbourne as we take a break on Sportsworld. More shortly.
He gets it through. So Mark Taylor will bring up his 300. He raised his left fist in exhilaration, and why wouldn't he? And now he shows some emotion that he hadn't shown before. The Australian skipper brings up 300 in a test match. What a moment. And he will accept the genuine congratulations of a number of the Pakistan players.
Lawyer by 3.